going on, everybody? Wolf94. So when I showed you guys the shiny Rayzone deck, I realized that I forgot to talk about something that, at least in my opinion, is quite important, and that is some techs to replace a Pokemon like the Zapdos that I run. So the main Pokemon, of course, of that deck is going to be Rayquaza. It is the best type of attacker to utilize a Pokemon like Magnezone with, but when it comes to the lightning coverage, of course, we can take advantage of lightning Pokemon too, not just Rayquaza. And there are some important candidates that can possibly replace Zapdos, especially if you have better cards. So as you guys can see, I don't have a lot of the cards, but we are going to talk about them. So this is the card I run, but there's probably better choices by now that maybe I haven't realized myself too. So Zapdos, 120 HP, is a good little basic Pokemon. Has a nice fighting resistance and a lightning weakness, okay? And the benefit of this Pokemon is that it can attack quick with Drill Peck. And Rage and Thunder is going to do solid damage for 3 energy, 120. You're going to knock out lightning weak Pokemon with little problems normally, unless they have like 250 HP. And I guess we got Choice Pants and shit in the deck too. Since I run Mr. Mime, the damage effect on one of my bench dudes isn't really a big of a problem when I use this Pokemon, and it's still a pretty solid card. This is the Roaring Skies version, but you can get this from Generations too. It comes as a nice full art as well from that set. Okay, so another Pokemon that's pretty good that maybe you guys are familiar with me as well, is this Raikou. This isn't a very good choice because we run 3 fire energies in the deck, and maybe there's a chance you're going to put a fire energy on this dude. You're going to have to. You have no choice. And then he doesn't do a lot of damage. It's going to be doing 90 damage for 3. It's a nice Pokemon with Shining Body. It's one of the bulkier options, I guess, for a Tech Lightning basic attacker. But it's not going to hit as hard as some of the other dudes. It's got a metal resistance, a better retreat cost. It's not a bad choice if you don't have anything better, but there are better choices out there. So for the big guys, if you want to go tech big with a Pokemon that give 2 prizes, one of the dudes you can use is Jolteon EX. This is a lightning Pokemon, of course. It's an EX Pokemon, so it's going to give 2 prizes. But this gives you a lot of, it gives you this sort of real tech feel. Swift is a nice little attack too. Can do a 1 for 30 pretty quick too. So it's kind of like the Zapdos from Roaring Skies here. Kind of matches it in that and does a little bit more damage too. And Flash Ray is the reason you might want to use this Pokemon. You do this, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. So this step might not be as good with a lot of people using GX Pokemon now, but sometimes, it can be pretty important as well. Like, for example, in my Darkrai / Yveltal deck, I don't run any, stage Pokemon. And there's some decks that might still not run stage Pokemon, what have you. It's probably not the best tech, but it's just something to think about. Maybe if you have space. It doesn't have a retreat cost too. This is pretty nice. Having free retreat can be pretty handy in a deck like that, because with only 1 switch and 1 float stone, sometimes retreating is a bitch, like I've said in even that deck. So the free retreat is also a very important perk of this card. So this is Jolteon. So then we got the Pikachu EXs. Let's start with this guy. So this is an EX Pokemon as well. Doesn't have a lot of HP since it's Pikachu, so that's one of the downsides. A 130 HP Pokemon that's going to give 2 prizes. The other dudes are going to give 1. But this Pokemon has a very powerful attack. Overspark. You discard all lightning energies attached to this Pokemon, and it's going to do 50 damage times the number of energy cards you discarded. Now, if you're pretty bold, you can actually make a deck and focus on this card, instead of Rayquaza, if you want to. I've seen a dude running a deck like that. I played against him, have the match on the channel. If you basically discard 4 energies, you're doing 200. Now, that's a lot of damage, but you also discard a lot of cards. So, like I said, it's better used as a tech, because if you discard 3 or even like 2, If you're going to hit lightning weak Pokemon, you're going to do pretty good damage, 200 damage if you discard 2 and 300 if you discard 3 if you're hitting for weakness. So it should get the job done. The first attack you don't want to use is a coin flip attack. Got a metal resistance as well, 1 retreat. It's one of the options. Might be not the best, but sometimes it might be good because with Rayquaza, if you don't run a lot of that dude like I do, I run 3, sometimes you might run out. Sometimes the stretcher has been used and what have you. This guy can be an actual attacker as well. You don't have to use him as a tech attacker. It has the potential to do a lot of damage if you really want to, if you have the energies. So that's the benefit of this dude. Now the other Pikachu, it's kind of similar, but I guess maybe not as good. Uh, this dude does Mega Thunderbolt. You do 160 and you discard all energy attached to this Pokemon. So I guess if you're gonna discard only 3, it's better than the other one. And it does 10 more damage. So if you put a choice band on, which the deck has, it's gonna do 190, so you knock out 190 HP Pokemon. It has a better first attack, I guess, too, with Thunder Shock. Maybe you're gonna paralyze the opponent, do 30. I just thought I show this. It's another option. Maybe if you have access to this, but not the other Pikachu X. But probably the other one is better. I mean, if you're gonna use this Pokemon mainly just as a fucking like tech, you're not gonna aim to do more damage than 160, 150, that kind of stuff. This might be better because if you put a fire energy on, you only have to discard 2 energies too. Only discard the 2 lightning. It's going to do a good job on the stage Pokemon, stage 1 Pokemon, stage 2 Pokemon that aren't GXs. So it's another option. Okay. Now for the other GX, EX Pokemon, we also have Tapu Koko GX. This is another very good choice. This dude has a lot of tricks. It has a big retreat cost with 2, but it's one of the guys that don't have a weakness. So you don't have to worry about weakness with this guy. Sky High Claws is going to do 130, solid 130 for 3 energy. So it's going to act like Zapdos and, fucking Raikou in this case too. You just put 3 energy on, do solid damage. 130 is pretty good. And you also are able to take advantage of the GX concept with this dude. In the deck, we don't have any way to utilize the GX concept, and that is kind of a shame. So with this dude, maybe you can do Tapu Thunder GX. It's going to do 50 damage. 50 damage, yeah, times the number of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not the greatest GX attack, especially since it costs 3, if you ask me. But if you do use it, if it does come up, it could be pretty good. And the other good thing with this dude is that it gives you a little flexibility with Arrow Trail. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench, you can move any number of lightning energies from the other Pokemon to this Pokemon. This might not come up, but it's something that it has that might come in handy. 170 HP for something that's going to give 2 prizes is much better than the other dudes, Jolteon and the Pikachus. So it's another good option. Now for the other last GX dude, I guess, we got Xurkitree GX. This is one of the newer dudes, Ultra Beast. So 180 HP, a little better than Tapu Koko, but this dude has a weakness to fighting, of course, has a resistance too, but Tapu Koko not having a weakness is probably better. This dude gives you some sort of defensive tech, I guess you could say, with Flashing Head. You prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from your opponent's Pokemon that have any special energy attached to them. So you guys know special energies are always used a lot. I mean, just think about Buzzwole GX now with the strong energies, with all the decks running DCE and other decks, even like fire decks running burn energy maybe and what have you. There's always something being played. So even though this guy's weak to fighting, maybe you could block something like Buzzwole GX too when they put a strong energy on, and then you play this guy, there would be, oh shit, okay, now I gotta use something else maybe. It's pretty good. Rumbling Wars doesn't do a lot for 3, it's only going to do 100, but you also discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So, if you prefer this kind of disruption, this kind of extra defense with Flashing Head, it possibly might have a better GX attack too than the Tapu Koko with Lightning GX. You add a card you find there to the prizes from the opponent's hand. So you disrupt them, and you also make them need to collect one extra prize. Now this makes their N stronger. It happened to me. Somebody used this card against me, and I managed to N for 7 cards once. But I think it's pretty good. Only works with one energy too. You can do all sorts of tricks with this guy too. So another nice option if you have this, if you want to run this, as opposed to running Zapdos like I showed in the deck. Next, we got some other basic Lightning Pokemon options. This is the Zapdos from fucking Evolutions. Looks pretty nice. Too bad it's not that good. So this Pokemon probably isn't one of the better cards too, but if you want a Pokemon that can do a lot of damage to function kind of like the Pikachus, this might be good. It's going to do 170 damage for 4 lightning energies, and you discard everything. So it's kind of weaker than one of the Pikachu EXs. But, you know, it's a basic Pokemon. It's only going to give 1 prize, so that's better. And it's also one of the guys that doesn't have weakness. It's one of the old school, you know, remake legendary Pokemon Zapdos, so it doesn't have a weakness. Thunder is a pretty shit attack, but I guess if you want to use it, it's there. If you don't want to discard energy, and 90 damage is enough. But yeah, one of the other options too. With a choice band, it can do 200 damage with Thunderbolt. It's pretty interesting. And it always, for me, I didn't understand, like, they put Thunder as the weak attack and Thunderbolt as the strongest attack. Anyway, okay. So, other Pokemon, some of the best ones we're going to talk about now is, of course, this Tapu Koko. A very popular Pokemon. You guys should probably be aware of this. With Flying Flip, you can spread a lot of damage. That's pretty good. Electric Ball, it's going to do solid damage for 100. You don't have to worry about any drawbacks too. And if you're hitting for weakness, which is what you're supposed to do with these lightning attacks, 200 damage should get the job done. If you put a choice band on, it's going to get the job done on any big Pokemon that's lightning weak. The obvious plus of this Pokemon, the very good plus, is that it has free retreat. That is very good. Only going to give 1 prize as well, unlike Jolteon EX, if you like that Pokemon for free retreat. It's got a handy metal resistance too. 110 HP is solid. It's just a very good Pokemon. Nothing bad to say about this Pokemon. If you want to run this, it's probably one of the best choices, if not the best choice. Pretty good. The only downside, I guess, is that maybe it's not going to get the job done on perhaps Stage 1 Pokemon, Stage 2 Pokemon that maybe aren't lightning weak. If you want to use this as an additional attacker, it kind of falls short on that. I mean, for example, if you're not going to hit for weakness, Pokemon like Zapdos and maybe this dude as well, or even these guys are going to do more damage as additional attackers, not hitting for weakness. So that's the only drawback I can think of. Okay, next we got the Zegroms. Okay, we got this Zekrom first, 120 HP. It's going to do slash 20 for 2. That's not that great, so it's not going to be able to attack quick and do a lot of damage like some of the other dudes. But Voltage Storm is pretty interesting. It's going to do 90 damage for 4. That's not a lot, but it does spread to your opponent. Now, normally this would be kind of shit. It's still not enough to make this one of the better cards, and it isn't really one of the better techs, but that 10 extra damage you do to all of your opponent's bench Pokemon can be something, because setting up for Rayquaza, KOs for Rayquaza sometimes is important. Doing 10 to everybody, maybe if you do this once or twice, even if you do it once, maybe that 10 extra damage is going to be all the extra damage you need to get a knockout on a Pokemon with, let's say, 240 HP or 230 HP when you don't have the Stadium. So it's another option. It's probably not that good, but I decided to show it, maybe. Like I said, if you don't have any of the other Pokemon, maybe this is something you can use. Possibly the best card, and the card that I would run if I had it, but I don't. Haven't gotten it from Shining Legends yet. This is Zekrom. I almost forgot about this card. So this dude is kind of modeled after the original Zekrom from Black and White, but also kind of modeled after and combined with the fucking Reshiram from Black and White. So it's got 130 HP, that's very good. Has a big ass 3 retreat cost, but it actually is handy in our case since we can use Heavy Ball to grab this dude if we want to. The metal resistance, pretty good, and it has 2 very good attacks. So Outrage is a classically nice attack. If you have more damage on your dude, it's going to do more damage for 2 energies. So it's kind of good. It forces your opponent not to damage this dude if they're not going to knock it out, or otherwise risk uh, getting hit for a lot of damage in return. And Stormblade is a solid, very good attack for this Pokemon. Going to do 130 damage, and you discard 2 lightning energy. So it kind of functions like the old Reshiram that I had in Rayborn and shit. So, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid Pokemon. Good first attack, good second attack. It's probably the most balanced Pokemon out of the other ones. So, yeah, if you want to do a lot of damage, hitting for weakness, and maybe you're not going to get the job done on Stage 2 Pokemon, yeah, if you go up against them with 130, but it's still pretty good. It has the Outrage option. So, another nice little option here. So, these are the Pokemon, probably the best ones if you're going to run a Pokemon that's going to give 2 prizes. I would say maybe this guy, Tabu Koko, like even this Pikachu might be kind of handy. This maybe not so much because there's not a lot of basic Pokemon these days maybe that you want to block. You should get the job done on most of them with Rayquaza, but it's also something. And for the non-GX Pokemon, I still think the Zapdos is pretty good. Can attack quick. Rage and Thunder is pretty solid. Has a nice fighting resistance too, and it's not weak to fighting like, let's say, Magnezone and shit. We could always use Magnezone too to attack sometimes. So it's pretty good. Naturally, this guy is very good as well. Might be the best option because of Free Retreat, and Flying Flip can also set up your opponent's other Pokemon for knockouts for a Quasi. It's pretty good. And this dude isn't bad either. So plenty of options. These are possibly the best ones, I feel like. Maybe if you're gonna run Pikachu EX, this guy might be better. But yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I decided to make it to talk about some cards because I do know there are other options, but sometimes I don't have all the cards or I forgot to talk about other techs in my decks. But because I did in other decks like Ray Eels and Raybor, I talk about other options, I decided to make this video talk about this too. So maybe if I get some of these other cards, I might even put them in, try them. But uh, Raikou, you know, isn't going to get the job. I don't like it since I'm running 3 fire energies. Maybe, you know, if I wasn't running fire energies, if, you know, Rayquaza was going to be using all lightning, this might be the better option too, because this Pokemon has an unlimited ceiling too. If you put a lot of energies on him, a lot of lightning, it's going to do more damage with no cost. And it's very defensive too with Shining Body. But because of the fire energies, I think it's one of the weaker options. But if you don't have anything else, good card as well. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys subscribe, leave a like, share this with your friends. Say Bro94, and what's up?